store, man.
Nobody calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all this sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
Alright, so for this week's introduction, I'm going to do things a little different. Instead of trying to come up with a witty remark about what we're going to talk about, I'm just going to tell a little story. So, about just over a decade ago, I met a guy named Doug. And, we hit it off pretty quick because we were both car guys, and we really hit it off talking about cars. It took about 3 years of knowing Doug for us to find out we had another passion in common, Star Wars. After a few more years, we decided to do a podcast, and here we are 200 episodes later. This is The Wars and More. I'm Joe, and of course with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey Doug, how you doing this week?
Doing pretty good, Joe. Wow. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. 200 episodes, man.
Yeah, I know.
We made it.
It's kind of
somehow.
crazy. Yeah.
Yep. Haven't killed each other yet?
No. Oh, why would you want to? It's Star Wars. It's all
Right.
It's all
Star
fun.
Wars is supposed to be fun, right? Like
yeah.
all this arguing and animosity out there. Why?
Exactly.
It's just a damn movie, man.
Yeah. When you boil it all down, that's exactly right. It's just a movie.
But we love it.
Yes.
So it wouldn't be a special episode if we didn't have another guest. So coming back, joining us again, Hunter. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Back again. Happy 200.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It's been a while since we've had you on. We had a good run there where you were showing up, at least a couple times every couple months.
Yeah, life's doing its thing where just everything turns around. So
Yeah, well, I get that. So we really wanted to catch up with you on the Bad Batch. Hear your thoughts, what you thought of this entire season. But first, we're going to talk about the final episode of the Bad Batch because we skipped that last week. Kamino lost. So, Doug, first to you. What did you think?
Well, overall, it was good. It was all right. It was, I don't know. I guess I felt like this was one of those episodes that like they could have left it here and wrapped it up and it would have been okay. And
Really?
yeah, but I mean, I know there's a lot of loose ends and everything, but there wasn't like a big giant cliffhanger to me. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where it goes from here. I think moving forward, we'll have a how do I put it, like a more impactful plot. I hope.
hopefully.
Yeah, so this episode to me didn't feel like a season finale.
Right. That's what I was saying.
It really felt mid-season break.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I could see this being a mid-season break episode, but not a season finale. It just didn't have that punch, right?
Right.
I mean, the excitement was kind of there, but that kind of got taken away because they're like, hey, season 2 coming. It's like, what?
Right.
way to take all the suspense out of like what's going to happen to these characters. So, Hunter, what about you? What do you think?
I really enjoyed the episode overall. I think I would have liked it a lot more if Crosshair just died at all throughout the entire series. If he was just taken out and just done with.
Wow.
All right. I thought it was cool. It showed Omega's usefulness a lot in the episode, and the fact that like she's the one kind of leading the group now, which is kind of weird, but it works almost. But just Crosshair constantly saying stuff and putting the whole vibe down, I didn't like. I thought it was impactful. I do see what you're saying about the mid-season, but the whole end with them looking over and seeing that their home is destroyed, that was a big deal. And then Crosshair ruins it.
Wow.
But I liked the episode overall. I thought there was a lot of cool lighting effects they used. It kind of felt like they went a little horror with it, with the like sea creature. That we haven't really seen stuff like that, I guess, since Solo in Space, but like Phantom Menace stuff. So that was cool. The whole like base sinking down was really cool shot. That was a good episode.
So I love how like when you pass it off to someone, that's the moment where you're like, now I can take a drink of something, things like that, and then Hunter leads off with that.
Right, yeah.
You know, I just wish he just died.
This is why every microphone smells like beer. This is.
I mean, that hurt. Thanks, man.
Man.
So
You agree, though?
I mean, I gotta say, I am not as big a fan of Crosshair as I thought I would be. He seemed like much more of an interesting character when this series started.
Yeah. When he was sort of made into a death trooper and all that, that was really cool. And then nothing.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's really been kind of weak for the villain, right?
Mhm.
I guess the big thing is the villain's not meant to be Crosshair. It's meant to be just the Empire as a whole.
true, but I will say this about Crosshair. Crosshair needs something more motivating him. Something more than just, we could do what we were doing for the Republic, but now for the Empire.
yeah, good soldiers follow orders.
It's like, well, wait a minute. If you had some sort of ambition to where you wanted to become something more in the Empire or something, that would make more sense. But this, where he's coming from now, I don't get it.
Yeah, because it's awesome when he's like in action and he's doing stuff. It's always fun watching him. And even like the fact that the entire group has to be wary of just him because he could take them all out
Right.
is like a really interesting dynamic. It's just, man, if he was trying to do something, it would be way better.
Yeah. I mean, he knows their tactics, right?
Yeah.
So that's their reason behind him being their villain.
Sure.
Because I think if it was just stormtroopers going up against them, it wouldn't work.
There would be no threat.
Right.
I mean, everybody would be asking, man, what happened to stormtroopers if they were like actually effective against them?
Yeah.
So that's why they need Crosshair there, I think.
Well, I mean, we have Crosshair, we have Rampart, ultimately Tarkin, they got lots of villains.
Yeah, seeing how far the show goes, it'd be really interesting to see them maybe bring in like an Inquisitor to hunt them down, like with Crosshair. That'd be interesting. It still needs to go much further, but
I mean, that would be tipping the scales.
it would definitely. It'd be a threat.
I mean, if you did that, you'd almost need Kanan to show back up.
Nah, maybe they work with like Fennec Shan and Cad Bane or something, and it's like a big
Those
deal.
two aren't on the best of terms. We'll get to that.
yeah. We'll get to that.
All right. What was there anything that like stood out in this episode?
I guess I don't know if it was this episode or the one before, but the confirmation that Omega's older than them and like watch them be made, pretty much. That's kind of interesting. So it's actually like their older sister in a way.
Right. I think that was this episode.
It was okay. I watched them back to back. So, but that was pretty interesting. And her just building more as like a team member in this episode and really carrying that leadership role I liked. And Hunter being the best character, obviously. That was fun to watch.
Yeah. Is
So-
that a namesake thing or a...
Oh no, not at all. Totally not.
I do got to say, I'm not so sure that Omega saw their creation, but definitely their modifications.
Oh, that's okay. That's fair.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
she was
that's like
around
when they were brought and modified.
right. So, and
Now, I was a little thrown by the modifications
uh-huh.
because I thought they were defective.
Same.
And their modifications were because of their defects, their defects.
They kept saying that, right?
Huh?
They kept saying that throughout the series.
Yeah,
And-
so to find out that they were modified
Right.
was a little, that's weird. Like, I thought it was just a defect that occurred in the cloning process and they ended up with enhance this or enhance this or enhance this.
I mean, it does make more sense that they were modified, because why would a defect make them incredibly better than every other clone trooper?
Yeah, but it made certain things better, right?
They kind of
you
just
can see
seem
that-
better.
Yeah, but you can see the deficiencies that they have in other areas.
Like personality-wise.
Like Wrecker, he's super strong, this and that, kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Like Hunter, he's got this intuition and sense as a leader, but he doesn't have that what's the word I'm looking for?
Emotional awareness kind of thing.
I mean, yeah.
Emotional maturity.
Whereas, and then you have Tech, who's super smart and definitely has no care for anything else.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no emotion there. Like, whatever makes the most sense to get the mission done, that's what he's for. There is no compassion there. And
Yeah,
there's
for
no
sure he's like a robot.
yeah, he's like a robot.
Yeah, then Echo is actually like
I mean, he's
half a robot.
modified later, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's
so you can see the defects that made them better, and then the deficiencies that they have elsewhere because of those enhanced traits. So I thought it was just oops. It was an oops, but hey, it worked out.
I forget if they talked about in like the Clone Wars when they showed up. Wasn't there originally more of them, but they died?
Well-
I forget if that was the thing, or if this is like the group that it always was. I thought it was kind of like they were like the Suicide Squad of Star Wars, pretty much, where it's like, all right, just send them on the worst missions, and if they die, who cares?
I think that was always these guys.
It was just these guys.
Yes, but they
It's
were
been a
named,
while since the Clone Wars, so
named after 99.
yeah, which is cool.
Right. Which, I'm starting to think maybe the things that happened with him are also alterations, experiments.
It could be like he was a super failed
Right.
copy.
And when you think about it, it makes a lot of the stuff that Nalase was doing in that secret lab kind of like creepy.
Oh yeah. Do you guys think this is, especially at the end of this episode, do you think it's a setup for what they do with Palpatine?
Yes.
Yes.
Like the whole cloning thing, like the kind of, that's how I took it at least, and I don't know if that was always a thing.
So from the old EU, what is it, Mount Tandis, I think, was where the
Yeah, I
whole
think so.
cloning stuff was going on, and this is very reminiscent of that. So I got a feeling
think
that they're borrowing from that.
I think it could definitely have something to do with Palpatine, but I think the immediate thing is going to be it's going to have something to do with Grogu.
Oh,
Very well could. But I think this is all like linear, right? This is, what happens with Grogu is preliminary to what ends up happening with Palpatine.
Yeah, I think we're going to
yeah.
find out that Grogu was like the initial thing was he was probably a clone of some kind. I don't think that's what we're going to find out. I think Grogu is just of his species. I don't think he's a clone,
Right.
but I think he was being used for the Force-sensitive cloning purposes.
Right.
That makes sense. Yeah.
If I'd have to go back and look, but I was pretty sure, like the uniform, that one technician that came out when they landed with Nalisay, that was the same
Right.
uniform as Dr. Pershing in The Mandalorian. Pretty sure.
Oh my god, you might be right. I have the episode up right now.
So yeah,
Also
I think
impressive remembering that name. That
What, Dr.
random
Pershing?
scientist guy. Yeah.
well, we did talk a lot about him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
you're totally right. It's the same exact uniform. Holy crap, good catch.
So, yes, this is a program, and now Nalisay is going to be probably running it. My guess.
Oh, that makes it really interesting. So we might get to see a lot more of that, like leading up. The timeline's still a little weird though, because it's so far off.
What this tells you, though, is, this is a very grand master plan Palpatine's had in place from the beginning.
Yeah, and hell, they could go real wild with it. Like stuff like they did with the Force Unleashed with Starkiller.
Don't give me hope. Don't give me hope. I know it wouldn't work in Star Wars as canon, but still, seeing that on
Yeah, but they
not
could
a live
make it
action, but something. They could.
They could make that work.
They could.
They could weave that in somehow.
Oh man, I hope.
Like, we're not going to get the Force Unleashed story, right? Like, what
Yeah.
happened there, that doesn't work.
Right.
I don't think we'll ever get that power either. Like what you could do in those games. I just don't think it would work on a screen.
No, I mean, you're playing a game. You got to give the player ridiculous power.
Yeah.
You even have kind of ridiculous power in Fallen Order.
Yeah, for being a Padawan, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. But that's all about gameplay.
Yeah, I get that. It was even the comics and stuff. He was doing stuff like that, which again aren't canon or anything. But
Well, the comic books are canon.
for Force Unleashed,
Oh, no, not Force Unleashed. I
no,
thought you
yeah,
were
I'm
talking about-
just talking about that. But it's definitely interesting that we're going down this weird like cloning route. I didn't see this coming when I guess after Episode 9 ended.
I mean, we said Kamino 3 times in the titles for this season. I'm surprised you're surprised.
Well, no, I get that now. I mean, like before Bad Batch came out, like after Rise of Skywalker, I didn't expect us to totally go down the cloning route. Like this is where a lot of the stories are heading to. Like Mandalorian's probably heading there. Bad Batch is heading there.
I mean, I think it had to go there because they made a vessel for Palpatine.
Right.
So there had to be something there.
This is how a lot of this stuff is going to, weave together. Basically, a lot of these story arcs. I mean, it's not that they're necessarily going to tie it all up for us, but we're going to be able to make the connections between the stories.
We obviously see too that they didn't perfect it either, because there was some definite necrosis going on there with that vessel that they made.
Right.
Good word. Yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, it was very apparent it was a zombie Palpatine, right? Like,
Yeah, it definitely was, and the whole Force triad thing is still weird, but
Dyad.
That's
Dyad,
it, not
yeah.
triad music.
Triad would have made more sense.
Yeah.
A dyad, was that a straight line?
Pretty much.
Like, they said dyad. I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Anyway.
Yeah.
Good episode.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was good. So, the season as a whole. The first season. What do you guys think?
Well,
Was it enough to get you super pumped for season 2?
I think that's got
No.
more to do with how it ended. That's where I was saying it could kind of end right there, and if it didn't come back, I'd be like, okay,
Yeah,
But-
it was good for what it was.
Right.
You know?
But I think it still leaves room open for season 2 to, have a what did I call it earlier? More important plot line or something like that.
Yeah.
That's what I think. The stage has been set for us to get deeper into these stories.
Yeah, if they relax on the cameos a bit and actually focus on the characters, I could see season 2 being a lot better. I thought season 1 had a lot of ups and downs.
Oh, it's okay to say that about the Bad Batch, but not about the Mandalorian?
I did say it about Mandalorian. I thought season 2 had way too many. No, you can go back. I totally said that. It had way too many.
Yeah, and then you told me I hated Star Wars.
Yeah, because you do. Anyway, the Cad Bane episode was good.
Funny.
Oh, the Cad Bane episode was fantastic.
That's like the one episode from the entire season that I super remember the entire thing, and I'll probably rewatch.
Yeah, it was definitely a standout.
I thought the pacing was really interesting. It wasn't Cloud City, but it kind of had that effect going on. It was really cool.
Yeah. You know what I like about Cad Bane in this series? It's not necessarily the primary episode he was in, but his introduction.
Oh yeah, it's an
prior.
old Western
Yes.
whenever he shows up.
Absolutely.
Whatever he does, it just switches genres completely.
There's just like clone bodies laying all over the place and leaning against the
There he is
doorway.
with a toothpick.
Yep. Exactly.
I also really like that they had him easily beat Hunter in like the standoff to show that these clones are really strong, but Cad Bane's still a whole nother level.
Right.
Like that was nice.
What I really liked about that Cad Bane episode too was there was all that hype about Fennec Shand coming to the Bad Batch.
Right.
And then her first appearance was like, wow. They really kind of put her several pegs down from where she was in The Mandalorian, like big time.
Yeah,
Like
And
it was not a great episode for her.
it wasn't.
And then we got to the Cad Bane episode, and I'm like, here we go.
Yep, it was a
That's
total
what
difference.
I wanted to see when they announced that Fennec Shand was going to be in this series. That duel was everything. Like,
Yeah, they're like dead even.
Yep.
That was good.
Because that character was one I was super pumped for. Like, because I really liked Fennec Shand in The Mandalorian. Was one of those characters I was like, oh, I want to see more, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then first appearance in the Bad Batch, I'm like, that's it. This is what we get.
That's all we get of her.
And it went several episodes without even a reference to her, right? Like, is that really all we're gonna get for Fennec Shand? She got a poster, damn it!
Yeah.
Right.
Like, and then that episode was like, okay, now I'm happy.
They also definitely humanized her a lot.
Yes,
Like the first episode we saw in The Mandalorian, she's like a stone cold killer. And she eventually has a soft spot for like Grogu and Mando and everything. But in this, like she was immediately like, Omega, I'm not gonna hurt you, like chill out. trying to help you. So that was a little surprising, but it worked. It gave us the confrontation between Cad Bane and her, so.
No, I did like how they worked her human side into it. It seems like later on in life she kind of buried that down a little bit. You know, maybe that's how you become long-lived as a bounty hunter.
It seems like it if you have to live through the Empire and everything.
Yeah, you got to bury that a little bit.
Also, the thing is that we got to see her reputation referenced, right? Like before we ever saw Fennec Shan.
Wow.
We were seeing her reputation being talked about, and that can be built up by others more than her actual experiences. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of like,
I mean,
helps
totally
develop
could be
the
a
character.
game of telephone, right? Like,
Exactly.
no, I mean, she was definitely badass,
Yeah, for sure.
but yeah, to get a reputation like that, you almost kind of need that, right? You almost need to feed it more than it really is.
Yeah, and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff usually happens organically. It's
Yes.
not necessarily that the person's, trying to make a name for themselves. I think, I forget the name of that episode of The Mandalorian, but where the young bounty hunter is trying to find her, he was kind of doing that more for himself, trying to make a name and create the name for himself without ever having
Right.
done anything. It's when
Right. If you can take down one of the big guns.
exactly. But
Yeah.
since she's actually been out there, done stuff, her reputation was preceding her, and everyone knew her name and didn't figure that this kid was going to be able to take her down.
Right. And you got to think about like how Cad Bane's reputation would have been, right? Like, okay, yeah, he stole a holocron from the Jedi Temple,
Exactly.
but you almost guarantee that he got a label as a Jedi Slayer
Right.
because of that. Whether he killed any Jedi or not, you assume he had to,
Because he survived his encounters.
Exactly.
because
at
he
least.
broke into the Jedi Temple and stole a holocron.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is he the highest rated right now, probably? Because Boba's still up and coming, but is anyone even close?
No, I think it would have to be Cad Bane. Like, he would have to be the top bounty hunter.
I would think
Yeah.
so.
I mean, maybe not now.
Right.
I mean, he's dead, right?
What?
Cad Bane? Like, Boba kills him soon, I'm guessing, right?
Well, we don't know that yet.
If that's not canon, we'll probably see him in The Mandalorian or something.
Well, let's hope.
Yeah, that'd be funny if him
Book
and
of
Fennec
Boba
have
Fett.
if
Book of
they
Boba
have a
Fett.
reunion. That'd be awesome.
That'd be something. Book of Boba Fett.
Or
that'd
even
work.
a flashback, right? Like,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay. What about Boba Fett?
I think we're seeing him in season 2 1,000,000,000%.
Yeah.
I
I'm
thought
with you there.
originally, like Fennec was doing a mission for Boba because Boba wanted to find Omega for some reason.
Right.
I thought that too.
You did? Okay, good. Because I was like, oh wait, they don't really know each other yet, I guess. But still, like, I don't know. It made sense in my head. Like, oh yeah, we're like actual children of Jango.
Right.
I didn't think it was for that purpose. I just thought he was the guy hired for the job.
Oh, I thought it was just like, oh right, you're gonna be with me now. Your actual family. But
And
I think
just
we'll
thought
see
it
him.
I just thought it made sense for her loyalty to Boba Fett after the events of The Mandalorian that they had a prior relationship.
That does make sense.
So just thought maybe she was part of his crew back in the day when he was, with Bosk. And
Oh yeah, that works.
so that's why I thought Boba Fett was going to be behind the scenes. When she was making those calls, I thought it was to Boba Fett.
Yeah, say okay.
Not to.
Maybe we'll see that. Maybe we'll see that season 2.
Yeah, I didn't think it was to a Kaminoan.
I would say.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What did you think of the decision to kill off Ton Wei that way?
That was something. I mean,
I know we're focusing on that episode. We're trying to talk about the whole season.
yeah, I know.
Well, it was just a really good episode.
It was really good. It was fantastic. It's the standout, right? There was so much that happened in there.
When you say in that way, what way do you mean? Just as the courier, and then all of a sudden, boom, done.
Yes. It was a jarring moment, I thought, for them to turn the corner and there she is.
Right.
Yeah.
Can happen that way sometimes.
Yeah. I'd like to see more of that. Like more.
Yeah, I mean,
oh my God, what just happened?
It was a very real moment for war, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
For this type of scenario, as opposed to running around with tasers.
Right. Stun blast.
Tasers.
Yeah, I don't know. That was it's funny. Whenever it was a little bit shocking, I guess, because she's the one who brought Obi-Wan to talk to Jango in episode 2. And it's like, wow, just kind of crazy.
Well, when she was going there, I once again made the Boba Fett connection.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because maybe Boba's hunting them too. Because I could definitely see her contacting him. Well, not anymore.
If there's any contact left, right? I mean,
yeah, it's a weird time.
Yeah, I mean, I was totally expecting a Boba Fett and Cad Bane showdown when she went. Right? When she was the one going to make the drop.
that makes sense.
I was like, it's totally hinting at that for me.
Honestly, I hope we get that season 2, and it's an entire episode dedicated to that, and the Bad Batch aren't even in it. Just a little
the
side
whole
episode.
dent in the helmet thing.
Yeah. I hope we actually see that.
That would be cool.
I think a lot of people feel the same way.
Yeah.
Because I could totally see an episode where Hunter and Omega are stranded on a planet, and there's just a bunch of bounty hunters hunting them down and trying to survive, and Boba and Cad Bane have that confrontation. Oof, good episode.
Yeah.
Nice.
I feel like that duel is still going to happen. Because that was a very good way to explain the dent
Right.
in the helmet. And to remove a bounty hunter that was so good that there's no reason he shouldn't have been in that lineup.
Yeah, or Jabba's palace or something.
Right.
If he was still alive.
I don't feel like he can get past this era.
Yeah.
And you got to explain it somehow.
Jabba's
because he's
palace,
that good.
Jabba's palace
Yeah,
is definitely a hangout of his. You know what I'm saying? It seems that way. Yeah.
I think the way the duel's gonna go out is Cad Bane's getting the first shot easily, but Boba has Beskar, so it's might get a couple shots too, and then Boba's just all right, well, you're too cocky and I can take you out, or his entire group is up against him.
I mean, they're definitely making the case for that with the Mandalorian. You don't have to be the best if you have the best gear.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Because he just walks in and gets
Tanks.
shot all to hell.
Yeah, 20
Every
shots.
episode.
Who cares?
Yeah.
But Beskar.
Yeah. Another episode in the season I liked though was the Hera episodes. I guess the Ryloth episodes is what they should be named. But I thought, because I remember seeing a poster or a trailer or something for the episode before it came out, and I was like, oh god, they're bringing Hera into it, like they're just getting everyone. I'm like, but it actually worked really well. I liked Omega and Hera having that, like, friendship, and then Omega being the one to push Hera to actually pilot a ship for like the first time. That was really cool to see.
Right.
And then Chopper being Chopper was just also being Chopper. Animated in the Clone Wars style was a treat.
Yes. Yeah, Chopper's Chopper, and it's a treat no matter what. Like
exactly. Like.
So one thing that really stood out to me in that episode, and I guess it amazed me with that, was Vanessa Marshall did return to voice Hera there.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Oh, I didn't even recognize that. I thought it was an entirely different person.
No.
I stayed around for the credits to see who was voicing Hera, because it was like, wow, that
the French
was very
accent.
different, but yet fit.
It did. The accent was much stronger, but it makes sense because she's still around only her people.
Yes.
And then she goes sees everyone in it,
Yep. Yeah, that was Vanessa Marshall. That was absolutely stunning to me to find out. Because
it was cool.
Yeah. I mean, that was another episode, or those two episodes were another part in the series that really kind of took me aback with the whole stunning thing, because you had the Twi'leks doing it,
right,
and their reputation was not that.
Yeah, they killed people.
Yeah,
more so than maybe any other species besides Zabraks or something.
I mean, Cham Syndulla was known for being ruthless. Yeah.
Yeah, this would be like having the Night Sisters with stun pikes, right? Like,
yeah.
It just seems wrong.
it felt really wrong, because they were a very militant people. And when you watch the Rebels Cham Syndulla episodes and all that, you're like, wow, how do you make this decision to be all, we're only going to stun them?
Yeah, and Rebels was a show where they didn't really kill a lot of people on screen, but when it came to those episodes, the Twi'leks killed them. Like,
they made a point of it.
Yeah.
They wanted to destroy the thing when they were trying the carrier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they wanted to blow the carrier up. There was no capturing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it was going to be symbolic. It was all about symbolism, and like these moves being, representative of the future for Ryloth.
Yeah, I guess an argument to just playing devil's advocate to make it make sense is like these events are what led him to be that way.
But the Clone Wars.
I know, that's why it's hard. It doesn't work well. He got that like brief period of peace, and then it's instantly back into it.
Yeah, as I say, the Clone Wars
is always under fire.
In the Clone Wars, when they went there, the Twi'leks fought with absolute ruthlessness.
Yeah, I really can't explain it then. It doesn't work.
I mean, I guess then it was droids.
Yeah. But still, like, I totally get what you're saying, and I agree.
I mean, I guess this is the transition from fighting, mechanics to fighting flesh.
Yeah, and they can't really show that. I mean, they did it in Clone Wars, though, but different times, I guess.
But my issue was they never let the bad guys, like, the bad guys were always like, kill, kill, kill.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
if it was anyone presumed to be a good guy, they were like, you have to use a stun blast. That's period. Like, this is how you lose wars.
Exactly.
It's why they're always at war, because they won't end them. It's like, what's going to happen? You just keep stunning the same people over and over.
Like, oh, I'm going to get you again next week.
See you here, same time, same place.
That's what it starts to feel like. That's the problem with it. Or if it's going to be a device to help tell the story, like, talk about it.
Right. Why
explain it?
Yes.
why have they made this decision?
Yeah.
To stun.
Because that hasn't been explained.
And the Bad
And it wouldn't
Batch
be such
also were like that.
Right. It wouldn't be such a big deal if it wasn't so prevalent.
Yeah. It was happening so much that it made you, if it happened once or twice, okay, we get it. But it was happening to the point where it was like, okay.
The Raxus one was the worst, I think.
I think you're right.
Or when they went to that Imperial installation.
Right.
And they found out that they're all TKs and
the one to get Gregor.
Yeah. Like that one, like you had that scene where they're in the cave there at that overhang.
Right.
And they're shooting stun blast back through the cave at the stormtroopers. And then the stormtroopers just brutally end up shooting one of their own guys in the face.
Yep.
And then he falls off a cliff just to make sure he's dead.
Exactly.
So it's not showing brutal moments or anything like that. Because, I mean, and even still, that was pretty subdued compared to, most violence everywhere else.
Yeah.
But it was relatively brutal for Star Wars. But the bad guys can commit that in a war. But the good guys, they got to stun everybody. It was just weird.
It was definitely weird.
I mean, Star Wars has been getting more brutal. I'm just thinking about, like, Mando just shooting a dude, like, 3 times and pulling him through a door and cutting him in half. Like, stuff like that. The tone kind of seems all over the place. They don't really know what they're trying to go for. Like, they want this to be a kid show, but the target audience seems like for people who like Clone Wars, which are, like, adults now.
The one thing they have to remember is that kids don't need things dumbed down for them.
They don't. They'll be bored by that.
Exactly.
And, well, the other thing there, too, is, like, even with the Mando reference you made right there, it's not intrusively violent.
Right. We didn't see the guy get chopped up by the door.
Yeah, but it happened.
It's not like blood splattering everywhere. It's nothing like that. You don't see a split in half corpse. We don't need that in Star Wars.
Right.
Yes, it's insinuated that that's what happened, and your imagination can take you to wherever that might mean. But it just, yeah. I'm at a loss.
Yep. I don't know. We will,
we go from a time where
find out.
Ahsoka decapitates, 5 Mandalorians with a single swipe.
Right.
Good times.
Yep. To no matter what, we're stunning.
Especially because this group was supposed to be like the finishes the mission no matter what, like takes out no matter what they need to.
And Hunter's signature weapon is a knife.
Right.
Yeah, like he's killing people. He can't really stun people with a knife.
But he hasn't used it.
He only uses it on robots.
Yeah.
It's true. You remind me of their introduction in season 7 of the Clone Wars, and Rex is telling Anakin or Obi-Wan or somebody, they call them the Bad Batch, right? They're known for unconventional tactics, right? Or something like that. And it's like, okay, more of that, please. That's, that stuff that they pulled where they, they're rolling a boulder down a hill and following behind it kind of thing. That stuff.
It takes out an entire droid army by themselves. Like,
exactly.
Come on. 'Cause I did kind of like how the series was very like boots on the ground, where it was like they're not fighting armies most of the time. It's like small firefights.
Yeah, special ops, right? Like,
Yeah, it felt very like they're constantly hiding and on the run, so they can't really do their grandiose things that they used to.
True.
And some of them are adapting to it, and then there's like Wrecker who just wants to blow everything up, which was a
Yeah.
bit annoying, but he grows on you, I think.
It definitely grows on you.
Yeah. Something I wanted to bring up, I wanted to hear you guys' thoughts about it, because I'm kind of about it. What do you guys think of the use of Tarkin?
Well, I just mentioned a couple shows ago that it made me smile a little bit when he said, "You may fire when ready." But when you say the use of Tarkin,
what was my response to that? Let's just,
oh yeah, you didn't like it.
yeah, I rolled.
Yeah.
I'm with you 1,000,000,000%, Joe. I think when we saw Tarkin originally in the films, I mean, I was a kid,
Yeah, we all were.
very young. He was super intimidating, cold, calculated.
Yes.
Awesome, right? Very great, like, villain that you may have not. He's not like your favorite, but like you're scared when he walks in the room. But they've been using him so much lately that it's like, well, we kind of know what he does now. He walks on the screen, it's kind of like, okay, whatever, just another villain. And I don't know, it's been taken away his, I guess, intimidation.
Interesting thought. Okay. You're so what you, as you were speaking, I have this train of thought run through my head. It's like, okay, if we don't use Tarkin, who else would we use? And then that made me think of the big Imperial Round Table in episode 4. It's like, well, yeah, in that position could be Admiral Mahdi or somebody.
Yeah.
No, serious, because anyone, I mean, all of those people have to be making their way up the ranks as well. Maybe, and maybe Rampart isn't an admiral at the time or whatever, but I mean, yeah.
Well, I think it's for big villains, less is more.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The more you use them, the more, like, it's like with Rebels. They brought Vader in, but they knew they couldn't have Vader getting foiled every week.
Right.
Because that would take away from Vader's mystique. And it's the same with Tarkin. The more they use Tarkin and the more they overcome whatever Tarkin's coming up with, the more they diminish his effectiveness.
100%.
Trying to make him less of a menacing villain.
Yeah, I'm glad we agree on this. I thought I was going to have to fight for this, honestly. Because the whole thing with Vader, like 1,000,000,000%, you can't show Vader lose. Like, it just doesn't work. Every time he shows up, he needs to drastically, like, either win or, like, hurt whoever's getting away.
You need to narrowly escape Vader if you get away.
Yeah. And, like, there's consequences every time. So, like, in Rebels, like, the first time they encountered Vader, Ezra lost his lightsaber. They completely got overkilled pretty much and barely got away.
They dropped an AT-AT Walker on Vader.
And he casually picked it up with one hand. Like, that was great. Take me back to Rebels. Like, that was...
So, I will say this. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but I will say this.
Why?
It makes me a little bit nervous that, they're talking of bringing Vader back in Kenobi. And, because of those reasons. It's...
I mean, we've discussed that. Like, you can't have this Vader, Obi-Wan. You can't have them meeting every other week. That's not how that's going to be able to work.
Right.
If they cross paths again, it can be once.
Right. Well,
I hope it's just once.
Yeah.
I hope it's like either a flashback or just one scene of Vader doing something. Like, give me a Rogue One thing.
Right. That
it
makes
can't
sense.
be huge.
Because then that takes away from Obi-Wan, which I know we'll eventually get to the gallery, but I know they talked about overusing Luke for the same effect,
Right.
which is interesting. I think that's a big problem in Star Wars right now. Is like we love these characters so much, but it's like the more you give us, the more, I don't know, the characters either change or we love them less because we know so much about them.
Well, the more that gets added, the more you dilute,
Yeah. Yeah.
whether intentionally or unintentionally.
Yeah, I think the only character that isn't true for is Ahsoka.
Well, because Ahsoka got thrust in that way.
Yeah.
It's
Ahsoka
true.
was introduced as a conduit for telling stories, and she was going to show up all the time. It's only recently that Ahsoka's been used sparingly. Rebels.
It's always a big event, but I think it will forever be a big event.
Yeah, and going forward, that's going to be the way it'll be. And this is why Ahsoka is slowly becoming a lot of people's favorite character. Because it's like the reverse of everything else. Like Luke was the same way, right? When they put Luke out there, Luke was there all the time.
Yep.
As you move forward, it's
Take him
more
away.
sparingly.
Yep. And now everyone wants Luke.
Ahsoka's literally the same formula.
Yeah. I mean, they're both my favorite characters, so.
But
Totally makes
whereas you
sense.
come to Vader and Tarkin and characters like that, they were sparingly to begin with. That added to their menace. If you start overusing them now, you will take away from that menace.
Which I am a slight rabbit hole, just a slight one. I am worried about them doing that to Thrawn. Because right now, Thrawn shows up on the screen and you scream in excitement. Like, it's, oh my god. But even in Rebels, like, they started beating him a little bit too much, and then Palpatine had to, like, say, okay, get out of there.
But yeah, Thrawn's in a little different position, right? Because
I'd compare him
Thrawn
to
is
Tarkin
new to
almost.
canon.
Oh, yeah, to canon, but, I mean, just to Star Wars fans, I'd say.
I think with your opinion of Thrawn, you have to take everything prior to canon and kind of sideline it a little bit. Because if you take everything prior to that, you're just going to be upset.
Yeah.
Even though they're treating him well, it's still upsetting if you really wanted that heir to the Empire stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get it.
Yeah, I treat them as two separate characters. I like both iterations. I really do. Just the Heir to the Empire one's a lot more menacing and Tarkin-like. But rabbit hole over, just a slight. I had to mention Thrawn. I'm on the show. Come on.
Yep. Well,
It might happen again. You never know.
It usually does.
yeah, usually.
Have something to add to the conversation? Or you just want to let us know how we're doing? Email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best place to get in on the action. But if social media is a little more to your liking, @TheWarsAndMore on Twitter is always a good place to interact with us. And we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/TheWarsAndMore. And of course, your portal to this and everything else, The Wars and More, is thewarsandmore.com.
All right, so Gallery comes back. I thought this was going to be a more continuous series with like seasons.
Hold on, Joe. Hold on. You've got to get the whole title down here.
Oh,
Disney Gallery, The Mandalorian Season 2 Finale. There we go. There. Sorry.
okay.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
Well, I mean, it's a
I
pretty
just wanted
long
to
title.
shorten it for brevity.
Okay.
This is like, I mean, shit, if we read some of these titles all the way through, we're going to be here all day.
Yeah, true.
So they're back with The Rescue. So the final episode of season 2 of The Mandalorian.
Right.
To hell with the rest of the season.
Exactly.
We're just talking about this one. We're not going to talk about bringing Ahsoka back. Not going to talk about Boba Fett. Nope. Just this one.
Man, it's Luke. Like, come on. Like,
I was going to say, there's my thoughts.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
it makes sense, but yeah, I mean, season 1 had a lot more of a each episode type deal.
Well, they were doing a lot of innovative stuff that, you know, for the first time ever, we got to see in season 1, right? The volume and all that technological stuff, and then the you know, diverse group of directors they had, and all that. Season 2, we were getting a lot of that kind of stuff that, you know, behind the scenes would be kind of like, okay, it's kind of the same old until we got to here.
Okay.
Don't you think?
I still would have liked
only
more.
use the egg in this episode, or
Well, I don't know.
I'm just
But-
saying.
That's possible.
You think it's possible that they only use the egg in that episode?
No, it's possible they used it more, but you know, again, it's what like a small version of you know, well, I shouldn't say that because it does more, but it by itself isn't as impressive as the volume.
I mean, it was pretty impressive.
Okay.
Pretty impressive. I mean, basically, I think it's pretty impressive because, wow, we never thought of that before. Like, you want certain lighting, and you can't always get it where you're at. So let's make a room for just lighting. I was kind of shocked that we just got to that point with the egg, right? Like, because it's basically a shell of LED lights, right?
Right.
And they just light it certain ways to get certain facial lighting.
Yep.
Seems like something they should have done a while ago.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of where I'm coming from with my statement. I don't know. It's
But that's
cool.
why I'm like, why'd you have to save that for this episode? Like, because Luke's back? Will that make this seem like a bigger deal? Because we have Mark Hamill in there? And we're going to light his face even though we're not going to use it? I just thought it was weird.
It is kind of weird, but I don't know. I mean, hey, I mean, for season 2, they only have one other episode, right? And that is, you know, behind the scenes look at season 2, you know. So they kind of crammed everything else into that.
Right. Which was weird because it was the cameo season.
It was. You would think you'd see one for every episode. Especially Ahsoka, but whatever.
Yep. Might see a little more in depth about that. I mean, I love Luke and all, but Ahsoka's a pretty close second.
Okay.
I mean, she's my first, but Luke's
I'm
Luke's
with
second.
you there.
Yeah.
I was just being nice, all right?
Okay. Okay.
All right. Well,
I mean, I guess seeing Luke actually do something, because we've seen Ahsoka kick ass. Seeing Luke actually like be a Jedi is just really nice, and seeing the interviews with Luke in this episode of the gallery, you could just tell he was so excited about it. Everyone was. Jon Favreau, Filoni, they were just cheek to cheek smiling. So that was kind of nice.
agreed. You heard Mark Hamill talking in here about how, you know, he got to see the reaction videos of people watching this and everything. I count myself in as one of those people, right? The rest of my family was looking at me during this episode like, because I knew early on what was going on before they did. And,
the second.
And
Yeah.
yeah, when you saw an X-Wing, it was like, no, they are not doing this.
Not just a
They
X-Wing.
are doing this, But what'd you say, Joe?
Not just a X-Wing. Like, it was the X-Wing. Right?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like if we see any X-Wings at this point, it's like, oh my God.
I don't know what it is. It looks like every other X-Wing, right? From the original trilogy. But for some reason, Red 5 when it walks into, when it cruises into the screen.
Well, here, so it's a.
R2 helps.
Well, okay, just looking at the X-Wing, okay, when it's pulling into the hangar, you can tell it's a T-65, and
Yep.
the ones that Poe's flying around are 70s, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, if a 70 showed up, that'd be like, what the hell is going on?
True. But I mean, I don't know. I just, at some point along that way, it's got to be, developed. I don't know.
Right. And,
I just,
and like, it makes no sense for Wedge to come walking out of there, right? Like,
exactly.
what the hell's
Imagine.
Wedge going to do?
One X, I mean, even the line from Cara Dune. Oh, one X-Wing, we're saved. And it's like, yes, you are. Because I don't know.
I mean, I saw that. Like, she said that. I'm like, one X-Wing, we're saved. And it's like, what?
Yes.
It's been a while, but I think I watched it with someone, and I still remember, like, we couldn't hear the dialogue because we were screaming so loud when we saw the X-Wing. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah, it was like, okay, we're going to have to rewatch this later to actually hear what they're saying, but we had subtitles
Gotcha.
because we had our own audio. So,
Okay, so since we're there, right, we're talking about that reveal. And I just want to skip ahead a little bit to the end of that episode. I mean, I guess it kind of stays in line with the way this episode of the gallery went. But how about the first time that we heard any music from the original trilogy in The Mandalorian was when Luke pulled back his hood.
Makes all the sense in the world.
incredibly emotional.
Yeah.
But yes.
And my question for you guys is, did you realize it at the time that you had not heard any original trilogy music until that moment?
I feel like there was like the Force theme or something when Grogu used the Force the first time, but I guess there wasn't.
Nope.
So I guess I didn't realize it, but then it still hit me harder because of that.
So I'm going to put it this way. Everything in The Mandalorian leading up to this, has been great. Ludwig Göransson's been awesome composer, and all the music is fit. But if Luke would have pulled back his hood and we wouldn't have heard that, I would have felt like something was missing, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, the past 40 years, it's like, that's his theme.
How about you, Joe?
50 years? 50?
Well, I'm going to be honest. I did not realize that was the first time we heard any OT music.
Okay.
I was like blown away by hearing that. I was like, when I heard it, I was like, oh yeah, I guess that's true, because I couldn't think of a single instance throughout The Mandalorian when I did hear classic
Right.
Star Wars music.
Right.
But it was still kind of a shock. Like, wow, we didn't. Like, you're right. It was not something that was in my mind, and I think that's a credit to what the composer did in this series, that I didn't even notice that there was an absence there
Right.
of those classic Star Wars themes.
Well, I mean, in my mind, it's not an absence, right? For all these characters that we've met in this show, Goranson's music is appropriate for them. Right? And if you'd have had Luke show up and pull the hood back and have something else playing.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like,
you know?
it's a credit to how well that music fit the universe.
Exactly.
Because it didn't even click that we had never heard any of those classic themes. That music just fits the universe so well, even though his style of music is so much different than John Williams. But everything he does, his compositions just fit.
Yeah.
So it was actually jarring to hear it in this, that, hey, that was the first time you heard classic John Williams. It's like, hey, no shit. And it hit me.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think every time you hear the Force theme anymore, it's one of those pieces that when it shows up, it's like, holy crap, this is big.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's almost telegraphing. Yeah. Pay attention to this.
You know, it's like when Rey, grabbed the lightsaber in The Force Awakens.
Right.
That moment was like, holy crap.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, which that hit really hard, and that wasn't the first time you heard classic themes in that film.
True. That movie had it all peppered out throughout, yeah.
But it was the first time you heard, well, that was the Binary Sunset that they used, right?
Yes. Yes.
Pretty sure. Which has the Force theme mixed into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Force theme is the one that's like, holy crap, that's the jarring theme anymore. Like before that, you heard Han Solo and the Princess, right? Like,
right.
But once again, it was John Williams composing that film, so he just made stuff that fit.
Exactly. Yeah. That's kind of what I was getting at. Yeah. He would weave in and
I'm
out
just
of all
saying
those
that
old themes.
Ludwig
yeah.
did the same thing. He made stuff that fit so well, you didn't realize that, wow, that was the first time that we heard any John Williams composition in this.
Right.
So, yeah, I thought that was shocking to find out. Basically what I'm getting at. Like in 2 seasons.
Right.
So 2 seasons went by and you did not hear any classic Star Wars themes in this show until that moment.
Well, we didn't need it until that moment.
They definitely kept that in the back pocket.
Yeah. So, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say we should probably touch on this technology stuff. Like with the, what they did as far as the...
Well, which part?
Well, which parts do you want to go to?
Well, let's talk about the face first, right?
Sure.
So they go over all the different technologies out there to do de-aging. You know, their classic de-aging technology that they had before. They go over deep fakes.
Right.
Which now they're talking about deep fake technology. It makes more sense why they hired that guy, right?
Yeah, exactly. That YouTube guy.
Yeah. And just all the different, they kind of weaved a little bit of everything into this.
Right. So what were they saying, that they actually used some of each technology to make this happen? Or did they go with
I
one
think
in
they were
particular?
blending everything, yeah.
Okay.
It's what it seemed like.
Yeah.
It's hard to say because it did get a little lost in the conversation there, like what they went with.
Right.
But it sounded like they were blending all of it, but at the same time, it was like, were they just giving examples? Like, was this a class on how to do it?
Yeah, exactly.
Seemed like it.
So, that's one part that I was like a little confused on because, whatever they did, it was pretty darn cool. But, I wasn't quite sure what it was, and this YouTuber that they recently hired, who wasn't around for all this, it was pretty much in the deepfakes realm itself, right?
Right.
So, and I gotta be honest, I didn't really realize there was competing technologies to do the same sort of thing, and I just kind of deepfakes gets thrown around as like a colloquial term for all of it, So I learned something there.
Deepfakes are really good. Like, they're really good for modifying existing footage, right?
Yes.
So
A mashup between Harrison Ford and Alden Ehrenreich, basically that kind of stuff.
right. You can do it after the fact,
Yes.
but you have to have both things done beforehand. Like, it's really weird. Like,
Right.
like deepfakes isn't the end all be all with making these new Star Wars things. I never got that argument, but like you see it online, he's like, "Oh, look what he did with this." Like, yeah, because Disney did all the damn work for him before he had to put that stuff over top of it. Like,
Right.
come on, he didn't make that scene from scratch.
Exactly.
Like, oh, he did it better. Well, they made it from scratch, so let's just make sure we got that there. They got budgets to work with here.
Right.
They can't make all this and then go, okay, let's tweak it, make it better with another 6 weeks of work.
I guess I was just blown away that, this is something that, with as, good as it looks now, which I think we would all agree that it looks like a pretty darn good video game, right?
Yes.
Now.
Yeah.
It's going to look like real pretty soon. It's, it's good enough to get their point across now, but soon it's going to be like flawless.
In the gallery, they almost seemed like they were scared of what's going to come.
And you can understand why, right?
Yeah, it's like, oh wow, we're really not going to need actual people soon.
Yeah, there's that, but I mean, somebody with this technology could make you say whatever you want, Hunter. You know what I'm saying? It's like
True.
It's kind of a scary thought that way.
Hey, I don't know why they got to go that route, right? Because like, if you just give the person the money that you're going to put into doing that, like, you can make them say whatever you want anyway.
Right.
Like,
That's true. That's
like,
true.
I
That is
don't
true.
understand why we got to be scared of this. Why? Just give them the money now. Like, like, I understand if it becomes extremely cheap to be able to pull this off. Sure.
True. Yes, because looking at some of the work that was going on in order to get this done, it looked like it was a lot.
Right, because like, where deepfakes, like, they're like, oh, with deepfakes they could be misleading. Like, no, they're taking footage that everybody already knows and modifying it
Right.
and then putting it back out there. So if you already know the existing thing, you're not going to be fooled by this. Okay, yes, if you never saw that existing footage, yes, you could be fooled.
But this is a step along the way,
Right.
right? To creating something completely original with that kind
Without
of technology.
shooting it.
Exactly.
Like, I just
Yes.
that they're not there yet. They're not anywhere close to that. Like, yeah, I'm not convinced that this is something to be truly afraid of yet.
Not yet.
I think it was a little more fear mongering in there than needed to be.
Well,
but that's another topic.
Yeah.
We got to be scared of this. Be very, very afraid. It's not the atomic bomb, bro. You know, and like I said, it's not like they're able to just make stuff from nothing.
Right.
They have to film something. There has to be something tangible to modify.
Well, so
And in order to film something to look official, like a news broadcast or something like that, you can't just do it in your basement with a white background.
right.
You got to do a little more work than that. It's just not at a stage right now where we need to be fearful of it. I thought that was unnecessary for this setting.
I get it. But speaking of having something to film, I thought it was awesome to find out that Mark Hamill had as much of a hand in this as he did.
Oh, yeah.
I was blown away as to just how much he was there, you know, for all this. It was, you know, call me sentimental, whatever. I don't know, but it was.
Oh, you're sentimental.
Yeah, shut up. You know, it was refreshing to see for me that he got to play a part in this.
Oh, I mean, I don't disagree. I mean, even if it was someone else that did all the legwork in the shooting and things like that, just it would have been refreshing to see him there coaching, right?
Right.
Like he has an intimate relationship with Luke Skywalker. He knows this character. Just his feedback alone would be invaluable.
Yes. It's awesome that he had people that would listen to his feedback about Luke Skywalker. That was great.
Yeah.
What do you think, Hunter?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Cool.
I mean, well, so I'll interject.
Yes.
The last guy, he said, "Hey, I don't think Luke would feel like this," and he's like, "I don't give a damn what you think." So
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like poetic justice. But it almost feels too late because we know what's going to happen.
Well,
But hey,
yeah.
they could still rewrite it. World
Well,
between worlds. Just saying it's
hold
out
on.
there.
Well,
Just get rid of it.
We'll get there. Don't worry. I have something for that. All right, cool. So that was the face stuff. This was the part that really got you, Joe, right? Was the audio.
this blew me away.
So, what'd you think?
The voice,
Yeah.
the fact that no one literally recorded anything for that
Yeah.
is amazing.
It is pretty
That
amazing.
they just took Mark Hamill voice work from over the years, radio dramas, films, whatever,
Commercials. Interviews. Yeah.
interviews,
Yeah, random interviews.
Yes.
and use a computer program to build this voice profile and make that voice like literally no one read that line.
Right.
Are you kidding me? I mean, maybe I misunderstood that, but I'm pretty sure I caught it right. If they said no one recorded any dialogue for that,
Right.
Yeah, I think it was all
it was all
generated.
computer generated. That
Yeah.
is mind-boggling. Now that is scary technology, ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
because yes, you could literally make anyone anywhere say anything on radio, podcasts, audio, whatever. That's scary. That should have been the one they were talking about. Like, this is scary technology,
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
because that you don't need, like, you just need random stuff said by said person over the years.
Yep.
To build a voice profile and then make it.
So I will say this. I think we're a couple years out from that being what I would call indistinguishable because there was a little something goofy with the voice, when we watched this. But it's pretty darn good. and pretty soon, these algorithms are going to be able to change the inflection of a word or something like that just to make it sound completely natural, and it's going to be out of hand at that point.
But it was at a point where it's not indistinguishable for Star Wars fans listening to Luke Skywalker's voice.
Right.
When it's so-and-so listening to random politician, on the other hand,
true,
you're not going to be paying close enough attention to pick out the details.
Yeah, I don't pay any attention there anyway, so.
Right, so that's where I say that technology could be scary.
Sure.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
But, yeah.
But, yes.
I was still blown away to find out that was all just generated. Like, we just typed that in, and the program we made spit out the words.
What continues to blow me away is the depths that they will go to try and make this as legit as possible, right? We talked about them scouring through all these old interviews and stuff like that, and the radio dramas or whatever. All of that stuff is just a sign that, there are people working on this with the dedication and the love for the franchise that it takes to actually make really good Star Wars. And that's what I love hearing about with all of these shows, these behind the scenes shows. It makes me feel good about what they're doing, for sure.
I mean, one thing that makes me really excited with that technology is as they use it and develop it and it becomes cheaper for them to utilize, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like Star Wars video games are going to be better for it.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Because they don't need a Luke Skywalker voice actor that sounds good enough.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, imagine replaying Hunter, you played Battlefront?
I was just going to bring that up, yeah.
So the Luke voice acting in that was
Matt
good
Mercer.
enough.
Yeah.
Wasn't perfect,
Oh,
but was good enough.
Right.
definitely.
But could you imagine this technology being utilized in that game?
We will probably see that. I don't know. See, the one thing we didn't really see from it is how expensive it is.
Well, that's what I
how
said.
long it takes. So
Right.
That's why I said, like, it'll get cheaper over time. That's
Yeah.
how all these technologies work. They eventually streamline it enough and just make it better. The thing, just like CGI, right? CGI before was very expensive.
Right.
It's still expensive, but it's a better option in some cases now than, physically blowing some stuff up.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Before it used to be cheaper to just blow all that shit up. Now CGI is becoming kind of the cheaper option in those cases.
Yeah. Yeah. Less dangerous, too.
Yeah. I mean, less fun, too.
Well, of course. So, I gotta say, I love the parts they were talking about. They were showing where they have Luke battling these droids. He's coming through each level or whatever, and they're very careful on just how badass they were going to make Luke. He could be better than he was in Return of the Jedi, but he couldn't be like, doing flips all over the place like Yoda or whatever.
He doesn't have every lightsaber form mastered. Like they said, he didn't really have a master.
Right.
So he still has his own like unique style of fighting, which is
But it's going to
cool.
evolve.
Yeah, it's cool that they even brought that up.
So
Like they thought about that.
they're thinking about that. So
Yeah, there was no omniscience here, right? Like,
right,
they didn't make Luke Skywalker a god.
exactly. So
Just a demigod.
what I would like to do is I'd like to play this clip of Dave talking about this because it's just got me thinking a little bit. So
Okay.
You know, we had a whole discussion about it would be very easy to just make him so over the top skilled. But I was like, you know, what's interesting is he's had training, but I don't know who's been teaching him sword fight training lately. So he had to have a style that was better than what we saw in Jedi, but fundamentally still have the same tree of sword fighting technique. And his technique and Ahsoka's technique should be very different. And technically, she's had vastly more training than he ever has. She's actually his senior, which is, I think, difficult for people to remember because of when these characters were created, right? So a lot of consideration given to every detail.
So everything Dave was saying in there, just making sense. And then it goes to Ahsoka. Just makes me wonder why.
Because Ahsoka and Luke have crossed paths by now.
Because
Well,
they're going to meet soon.
that's what I'm thinking.
That's my hope.
I think they've already met.
It's possible.
You do?
Yes.
It is possible.
Both are possible. So I have a feeling that, and I don't think this was like, left in there by mistake or anything. I think this is them telegraphing to us on purpose. This is what you're going to be seeing down the road. This Ahsoka series, I got a feeling we're going to see some Luke in there.
And Ahsoka Luke collision course needs to be a thing.
Yes.
I mean, here you have probably the two best characters in the Star Wars universe.
Right.
Easily.
They need to meet.
Now.
They're overlapping timelines. It's time.
Now.
We've been leading to this.
Okay, I'm glad you both feel this way because I'm going to take this down a little side shoot path here. In my mind, this is the only way possible to make the Luke that we saw in The Last Jedi make any sense. Because we all know what kind of a taste the Jedi Order left in Ahsoka's mouth.
Yeah.
Her teachings to him, and he might say, no, I'm going to make this work. And then in his mind, he realizes Ahsoka was right by the time we see him.
Oh, damn.
Oh, totally.
Oh, man.
Also seeing
you just saved The Last Jedi.
That's what I knew it. That's what I was setting out to do. Yes. All right.
You haven't done that much yet for me, but no, I think it'd be super just cathartic to see Ahsoka train Luke,
right,
and Anakin train her. But yeah, she's definitely gonna be the Jedi, they sucked.
I mean,
yeah, I don't know if they're if she's gonna train Luke, right? That's. I have a feeling that's more. They're gonna compare notes.
Yes, yeah, they're gonna put their heads together.
This is gonna be like Mace Windu and Obi-Wan working together, right?
I think they could learn from each other.
Yeah.
Probably he more from her than she from him, but yes. He can definitely learn more from her. She's been around longer.
I think Luke has more of a grasp on the Force, and then Ahsoka's more dueling and combat stuff.
True.
So I'm gonna just direct us somewhere else for a quick second, because I know you guys haven't dove into the High Republic yet.
Okay.
Oh.
This is one strength that I think the High Republic does have, is these Jedi of equal ability working together but learning from each other.
Okay.
They do have that woven into the story, and I think that's interesting.
Okay.
You have two Jedi masters with different approaches.
Right.
And they walk away from situations learning from the other. So
Makes sense.
just making that connection to a Luke and Ahsoka meeting
Right.
makes sense.
I mean, you think about it. Who better to tell Luke stories about his father? Right? And mother.
Oof.
Okay. I think we could see some of that. I think she could tell Luke stories about, what happened with the Jedi Order towards her and in it, and how he could, being from an objective angle, think that was then. I'm not going to do things that way. I'm not going to let that happen. Blah blah blah, and still try it. And then, like I said, by the time Rey's trying to talk to him, he's got Ahsoka's words stuck in his head.
Yeah, I mean, Skywalkers are stubborn, so
Right.
all he has is Yoda and Obi-Wan.
And I think that would do a ton to redeem the Luke that we got in The Last Jedi. Now, it does not forgive the fact that, he looks, in many ways like you just dragged him out of a dumpster in some alley in San Francisco. But, he could be understood better then.
Man, Doug, you are pitching a series that I would definitely watch.
Uh-huh.
Because I could just imagine Luke and Ahsoka sitting around like a campfire on Endor.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And Ahsoka starts telling a story, and then as she's telling the story, it like fades into a flashback where it just plays out the whole scene in front of you.
Yes. And we have this de-aging technology you can use on Hayden Christensen. I'm just saying.
Oh my! I mean, Hayden Christensen, you wouldn't have to do that much work with that guy.
Honestly, yeah.
I know.
He looks older. He looks older, but you just got to do a little bit of work.
Yeah, lighting.
And he's right back
fix
into
that
it.
with lighting, right? I mean,
yeah.
So, I don't know. That's where my head went watching this. I don't know.
Oh man, I would so watch that series.
I can't wait.
Okay.
I hate that they have to make it just to explain The Last Jedi, but
me
I
too.
can't wait.
But that is something I think it would help a lot for the franchise as a whole, in my opinion. Because no one can understand. I shouldn't say no one. There are many people who could not understand why Luke was thinking the way he was thinking in The Last Jedi. That's not the Luke we knew. Right. He would need a reason.
He didn't read that's why they failed.
Right.
Palpatine would have washed everything away.
Yep.
There was no learning from books. I mean, Palpatine would have gotten rid of all of that.
Now, I was thinking about this too. Right? So, even Ahsoka's last interactions with Anakin in season 7 would bolster this even just the tiniest little bit. It's like they were still there, friends and stuff, but there was still there's this little tiny tension thing going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was weird. So, and that's how things were left, So I don't know. I think Dave Filoni he's smart enough to do this, I think. Just judging from the reaction that I'm getting from both of you, I think this would be a good path to go down.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, first off, any bit of more Ahsoka we get, I'm all on board for.
Yep.
So from what you both said earlier too, this is like number 1, number 2 Jedi, right?
Yep.
Yeah, put them both in the same show. That'd be great.
Number 1 and number 2 character in Star Wars for me.
Well, there you go.
Well, yeah, Jedi's. Yeah, You're oversimplifying. I'm with you. Like it's. I mean, they really are the two most prominent. Like it's not even like what are your favorites. They're two most prominent.
It's true. It's true.
I mean, Anakin would probably be third, even though like George's intention is Anakin's at the top, right? Like,
yeah, but he's there in different forms, right? I mean,
right.
Anakin Vader. So,
but Anakin's prominence is not as high in the original trilogy as it was in the prequels. Like in the prequels, he was the focus,
right?
And then you got the Clone Wars, and that shifted the focus to Ahsoka.
Yeah, for sure.
And Ahsoka's just been so long running. She's the longest running character in Star Wars history.
Yeah.
I mean, she's got the most content about her than any other character. There's more Ahsoka content out there than anyone else.
It's true. The Rebels.
Yep.
Clone Wars. Yeah. Mandalorian.
She's definitely got more overall screen time than anyone else.
Yeah.
I think Anakin's close if you count Vader, but it's like separate characters.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
close, though. Like,
Yeah.
Ahsoka just had so much screen time.
Yeah.
I mean, which was worth it.
Yeah.
It was the right way to go. Which is amazing considering how we all felt after the Clone Wars movie.
Doesn't exist.
I mean, really though, when you watch it and then you watch the Clone Wars, it's not bad.
Right.
Because it's like, it feels like that was intentional. This is her character. She's that immature. She's that,
Right.
you know, and yet Anakin Skywalker, who becomes Darth Vader, actually ends up molding who is probably the most perfect representation of what a Jedi should be in the entirety of the saga.
Yeah.
Like, even though she leaves the Order, she had the best values of all of them. Trained by Darth Vader.
Right.
Weird.
Yeah. Kind of crazy. And
All right, back to Gallery,
There
which
we
was
go.
what we're supposed to be talking about.
all right.
What else in there? Do we need to cover anything else in there? Now that I just rolled back to it, I'm like,
I don't know. For
Did we
me,
leave anything?
for me, that was the thing that just got my brain, you know, the gears working in there. Because when I heard him say that, that was one of those things where it made me pause. I backed it up. I re-listened. It's like, why is he even bringing her up?
oh,
So, go ahead.
It's also like his character.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah. So it's,
I thought of something like an off-the-wall question, just like
sure.
watching that and seeing this actor they had playing Luke
Oh yeah,
when
yeah.
Mark Hamill wasn't there. I'm sorry, but I'm watching that guy and I'm like, you probably could have just used that guy and we would have been just fine.
Yeah,
yeah, you probably
absolutely.
didn't have to use millions of dollars for that.
There's no doubt about that. I would have bought it for sure.
I saw that guy. I was like, why didn't you just use him?
Yeah.
I mean, shit. I mean, maybe he would have talked and been like, hey guys, how you doing? It's like, I screwed it up. But like, I saw him in that show and I'm just like, why were we so against recasting? Like,
I don't know. Because you're right. This guy looked enough like Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill said it in the interview.
yeah,
You know?
he's like, oh, that was freaky.
Yeah, he
Like-
looked more like me than I did. Yeah, that's what he is.
Exactly. Yeah, when I saw his face, I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, that would have worked for me. What about you, Hunter? What do you think?
I would have been fine with it.
Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, would you have rather seen his face in that moment than that video game-ish looking face.
I would have been fine with them keeping the hood on.
So you wouldn't have been fine with him taking the hood off?
No, like if they just kept the hood on, that would have been fine too.
Oh,
like I didn't need him to do the whole like reveal thing.
Right, as a third option. You knew it was Luke.
As a third option, yeah.
Right.
But I mean,
I feel like people would have felt robbed if he would have left the cowl up, right? Like,
I thought it really worked well for the whole like the way Jedi were set up in the Mandalorian, and how they're these like mysterious like wizards. I know we all know it's Luke, but still.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, Grogu, when leaving, he wanted to see Mando's face, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't think he would have been like.
I mean, yeah, that was contractual obligation for Pedro, wasn't it?
But no,
I'm
but no,
joking.
that did make sense though, right? Like
It did.
That one made a lot more sense than the first one.
yeah, like to like scan his face to get into an
they could've just
Imperial
not
thing. Like,
Right.
we're like, what the hell are you scanning faces for?
Yeah.
Like, because apparently he's
fixing
not in the
his face?
database. Like, why would he be there where he could just access these files because he scanned his face? Literally, the Empire has the worst security protocols ever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just you walk up, they scan your face, cool, you get whatever data you want. If we have a problem, we'll come find you later.
Yeah.
In a galaxy. Like
Yeah. Doesn't make
like
sense.
no, that was dumb. That was dumb. He needs to take his helmet off to scan his face. That's just dumb. Unless we're gonna find out for some reason that dude was enlisted in the Empire, which doesn't make
Probably.
any sense.
It'll probably happen.
But yeah, all in
I
all,
don't
I feel like they could have just used that guy.
I feel like they could have, but this again shows me that they're trying to go that extra mile for the fans. Like, they care enough about this too that they feel like it had to look like, Luke, like look like Luke,
But then I gotta ask, are we as fans pushing this too far then? That they feel that necessity.
I kind
That
of
it
feel
has
like
to
we
be-
always have.
Right.
Like that's kind of the problem with us.
Right. But am I saying is that a problem? Like that
I don't
are we
know.
pushing this too far that they have that obligation to do that as opposed to just cast that guy who looked really fantastically like Luke?
I think it's too far when Disney Lucasfilm says, no, we're not doing that. I think that's when it's too far. I mean, I think they are still at the point where they are going to figure out a way to tell whatever stories that need to be told. And
Well, here's my next point before you go there. Without doing that, without putting that guy in there as the face of Luke Skywalker, you're now still having to answer the question, how do you do a Luke Skywalker series when you have to spend all this money to make his face look right?
well,
If you put that guy in there, now you have someone to be the face of the Luke Skywalker series and you can just move forward.
in many ways,
Or you make it animated.
you could do that too. But
Yeah,
in
it'd
a
probably
lot
be
of ways,
cheaper.
I think they have already spent the money to make Luke Skywalker's face look right, quote
Yeah,
unquote,
but-
right.
To do that for an entire season of shows or an entire film would be ridiculously expensive.
Think about it though. We would see Luke with Ahsoka, right? There's not going to be that much Luke in it.
No.
This is gonna be
for
more
that
Ahsoka.
series that we
I
talked
mean-
about earlier. I'm saying, like, if you had an Adventures of Luke Skywalker,
Sure. I think that's a long way down the road if we're going to get something like
Right.
that.
but I'm just saying, if you had an actor step in right now that looked as good as that guy did,
Right.
you could just move forward.
I agree.
You don't have to worry about the future.
I agree.
So, like, are we literally,
I mean,
because of this desire to have everything perfect, are we limiting progress?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I'll tell you why. Because they already did it with Solo. I mean, and that was fine.
How'd that work out?
Yeah, but it's not because of that. I mean, we all know that, there's a lot.
But they don't see it that way because, like, they work as dollars, period.
Then they're not paying attention.
They don't see it as it worked out because of this or that, or they don't see the reason.
Then they're not paying attention.
Well, they don't because they look at dollars.
I think a big thing is also like Filoni and Favreau really want it like us.
Yeah, that's what I think it is
mainly. They want it to be
mainly
as good as it can because they're such big fans.
Right.
You get rid of them, and I think we'll have a lot more of Solos.
Yep. Not story wise, but recasting characters wise.
Yeah, not caring about.
Yeah.
I guess perfectionism.
Right. And I think it would work in that context.
Okay. I don't know. I've always been a proponent of just recasting.
Sure.
We talk about this over and over again because, like, and it was the whole Leia thing that really prompted all these conversations.
Right.
Like, I feel like they should have just recast Leia. And I feel somewhat vindicated because I feel like I was kind of right with the way they handled things.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They couldn't really do much with her.
They didn't really do any service to the character or pay homage by doing what they did.
Right.
They did a disservice, in my opinion. Whereas they could have respected Carrie Fisher's legacy by recasting her and fulfilling her character's tale.
Yeah. Yeah. They tried with Carrie, and it was kind of a whiff, that's for sure.
It was a big swing and a miss. I mean, just the passing of the lightsaber back and forth, that was just ridiculously dumb.
Yeah.
Like, oh, let's show the same scene, but we're going to go back and forth. Like, okay, now rewind it. Like, really? This is what we're doing? And, like, you couldn't, like, not tell. It didn't look different. So bad.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I also think that it's the desire of the creators to actually put Mark Hamill's face on a younger Luke. Their desire to do it that is going to help move these technologies along,
right?
Which I think is going to eventually, like quite a ways down the road, lead to us getting more stories with all these characters with less effort on there. I shouldn't say less effort, but more availability of these characters for them to tell these stories for us. So I think it's a win all the way around.
Yeah, I just think it was an easy reaction for me because it's not often that you see these behind the scenes videos and things like that, and you see the double come in,
right?
And the double truly is like a double.
Oh yeah,
like it's not so often you have a double that's like, holy crap, you should just use that guy.
Yeah,
yeah. It also seemed like someone they like knew of already, like they didn't search for him,
right?
Yeah, it's funny.
Which was super weird.
They called him Max. I mean, you can find his full name in the credits and everything, but they just called him Max. I was kind of like, okay, yep, you're right. They know this guy.
Yeah, I mean, they had that. That was probably the original intent, was they were just going to use that guy.
Could be. Yeah, put the Plo Koon mask on, and there you go.
Yeah, it was funny they did that. But they also had nicknames the entire time.
Right.
But like he had the hair and everything. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Hey, haircuts are easy.
I know, but why would you do it if you're not going to show his face?
I don't know.
Like, why go through all that effort to make sure he has the haircut? Like
Well, I mean, okay, these guys, they want to make it as authentic as possible for when they're actually doing this. Right? This helps them visualize what they're doing. I don't know if you noticed, but Mark Hamill shaved his facial hair for this too. So, you know.
Well, that's different.
How?
If
you're not using his face, why does it matter?
It does, because that would be in the shot. Right? If facial hair would be an additional thing in the shot. If this guy's hair was shorter, and now it makes sense that they did this with this guy if he had long hair or something. But like facial hair, that's going to be something additional in the shot, something they have to remove and then build on top of. That
Right.
would be different, because then you got to, like with the facial hair too, if his beard's particularly long or something like that, you got to deal with the clothing underneath. Like, it's more than just dealing with the face. Now, if that guy had long hair before this, that would make sense, because then you got to deal with the shoulders, things like that. You got to mess with clothing and other pieces other than the face. But if he had short hair, why change it? Especially if he's not getting shot and being used for the scene that Mark Hamill's being used for.
Maybe that's the way he wears his hair all the time. You never know.
It could be. He just might love Luke Skywalker and decided, I'm going to look as close to Luke as I can for the rest of my life, and he's killing it.
Yeah, there you go. See? You've answered the question.
Yeah.
I doubt it. The hairstyle is not really in right now.
Right.
But if he walks around like that, guaranteed, like, everyone's like, holy shit, it's Luke Skywalker.
That's right.
Luke Sky. Yep.
Absolutely.
Because that's what I would say. Be an awkward day at the Speedway, that's for sure.
Right.
All right, anything else, guys? Like, anything else we want to cover on there?
I think I covered the things I wanted to cover.
Yeah. I think anything else would be an entire episode.
I'm with you there.
Because I do definitely want to come on again for best moments. You know, all that stuff.
Yes, we need to do that.
I want to actually write that down and have some thoughts put together beforehand.
Yeah, we'll do that soon. We'll try to fit that in before things really kick off here, because I have a feeling we're going to end up in a cycle again, like we did with the sequels.
Yeah.
Where we're constantly talking about news.
Yes.
Yeah, it's week to week stuff.
A whirlwind of content. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I'd like to do some stuff that's not news.
I like it.
Not news. Let's just bullshit Star Wars, right? Like,
yep.
That's what we're here for.
So we'll have to put another episode together like that. Like, I thought this one was good because we had two topics, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
We didn't get too caught up in the news.
Right.
So, all right. Well, all of y'all listening, if you have anything to add, you can always email us, show@thewarsofmore.com. That's the best way to get a hold of us. We're also on social media. We're at The Wars of More on Twitter, facebook.com/thewarsofmore. You can find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsofmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
No, I think that about covers it.
All right. We will talk next week.